Well, hello, my name is Angie, and I am the Education Advocate for Youth Experiencing Foster Care in Washtenaw County. Today, the Community Advocate Award recognizes referee Susan Butterwick for her outstanding service as a community member committed to underserved students, social justice, and education for all. I had the honor of working alongside Susan Butterwick for the last about 4 years that she served as the referee on the neglect and abuse docket in Washtenaw County before her very well-deserved retirement, and I am so thankful that I was able to work alongside her in this role and learn from her incredible work. The way she met families experiencing some of the hardest times of their lives with such grace, dignity, and respect is something that I and many others will carry on and work to exemplify for the rest of our careers. Susan saw these kids. She saw their needs, their wants, their hopes, and their dreams, and what stood in the way of their success. She worked tirelessly to build a system that would achieve this for them and remove any barrier that she could in a system that sometimes feels just like endless barriers. She always saw the light in these kids and in these families. She always knew what was needed and pushed for what was right. She changed countless lives in our community. Countless children with brighter futures, countless families stronger because of her diligent work to build resources, skills, and overcome the trauma that had been experienced. Through it all, she always held her docket with love and respect, and the children she served have far brighter futures as a result of her service. It is my absolute honor and privilege to present this award to referee Susan Butterwick. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm so deeply honored. I appreciate all your words, Angie. But I want to take this opportunity to say just a few words about my personal experiences with Student Advocacy Center. My first introduction to SAC was as a new attorney in the late 1990s when I represented parents and children on the child protection and delinquency dockets. At that time, the juvenile court was located out on Platte Road, with Judge Wheeler presiding over the dockets, and it happened to be located directly across the street from the Student Advocacy Center. It was at that time under the leadership of its founder, Ruth Zweifler, and project director, Margaret Harner. It did not take me very long to realize that out of that small office across the street came some very big changes in the lives of many of my young clients who were facing a multitude of issues, including some serious barriers in school. And so I stepped back and did some other work for a while, and when I returned to this area of the law and joined the juvenile court on the child protection docket in 2014, I was so relieved to know that Student Advocacy Center was still there and showing up for these students who are struggling in school. And so I also know, Angie, that the job of the educational advocates who work on this docket, on these cases, can not only be stressful and hard, and you are asked to do things that go above and beyond, I think, what some of the other educational advocates are doing with the schools and kids who are not in foster care. Working in foster care brings on some additional challenges, I think, for everyone, and especially for the advocates. Some of the differences are between, I think, what these advocates are doing and the other educational advocates is that you are working with state agencies and budgets from the state and with the court system and attorneys, and in many cases with kids who are struggling in school without a parental support and who are experiencing acute trauma from that fact, which in turn can cause some severe behavioral issues. And when that result happens, the state sometimes has to move these children from one placement to another placement. And when these kids have to move and they lose their placements, the state places them anywhere in the state where there could be an opening for a home for them. This means that they rarely get to stay in their own school districts, and they have to move to different schools. Sadly, I have seen some kids have to move as many as 3 or 4 times in a school year. It's also important, I think, to recognize, especially when these foster care placements change, along with the child's attorney, the Student Advocacy Center, and their advocates, I should say, may be the only other consistent person in their lives besides their attorney. As you know, many of you, the founder of Student Advocacy Center, Ruth Zweifler, passed away in January. I know she's missed tremendously here. And as I listened to the speakers at her memorial service, it was a reminder to me of how much Ruth's thinkings and values continue to shape the work of this organization. So I'd like to share a few quotes from Ruth as relayed by her children at her service, because they typify what I see in the work that Student Advocacy Center does every day. Ruth implores us to advocate for the most neglected, whom she described as the victims who always get the blame. And I can't think of a better description of some foster kids. She also points out the important distinction between hearing and truly listening to others by challenging us to listen to those whose voices aren't normally heard. And while I know that this is exactly the work that the student advocates do, when I was writing this down this afternoon, I thought, man, that's good advice for all of us in this world today. She also tells us to look at the world through other people's eyes. Angie, I've seen these words embodied in the work you all do every single day. So when Perry contacted me about this award, I was deeply honored and also surprised. Surprised because my relationship with SAC has been one of vicariously receiving far more than anything I could ever give. It was SAC's advocacy that helped those that I represented so many years ago as a lawyer to succeed in school, and some even went on to college. And more recently, it has been Student Advocacy Center's educational advocates who have been such a presence in the lives and the education of the foster kids on my cases, and who have helped so many of them open and walk through new doors and succeed in ways that they might not have been, they probably would not have happened to them otherwise. Some came into foster care never before having seen themselves succeed in school, and then they have gone on to graduate, and some went on to college later on. So I'm accepting this award as a symbol of the work that I have done with you and with the work that you have done for these kids. And I feel like I have been impacted tremendously by the work of the Student Advocacy Center. So I can't see you out there, but I would like to introduce to you this team that has served the foster kids in this county so well and is so important in their lives. So when I call your name, team, please stand up so we can recognize you all. Angie Camilleri. Ben Murphy-Smith. Colleen Walter. I know you're here. Alicia Witkowski. And the Check and Connect mentors who have also worked with some of the foster youth on this docket. Ja'Cory Brown. And Myron Micah.
She said Myron, but y'all were still applauding.
Sorry. And program managers, Amy Wilhelm for the Educational Advocates, and Tina Juries for the Check and Connect mentors. And if I've left anyone out, because you were working behind the scenes on these cases too, thank you as well. I may not have met you, but I appreciate you. And of course, Perry Stone Palmquist. Thank you. Everyone knows. So, thank you, and I share this award with you as a symbol of the impactful work that you do every day. And I will think of you all whenever I look at it. Thank you so very much.
Perry's gonna kill me for taking more time, but can I just say how indicative of what a woman this is that she turned it back around on all of us. She deserves this award so immensely, and we adore her and we love her, and she has changed so many lives. Thank you.